to another episode of Warhammer 40k Imperium. And today we have issue number 6. In this issue, we have the 3 Primaris Aggressors. We have 2 regular aggressors and a sergeant. And, of course, the 40mm bases that they'll be put on. And we have a new paint this week. This is a Bad and Black. This can be used to go on a lot of the weapons, the joints between the armor and that. And you can see the aggressors down here. Okay, in this issue, clad in bulky Primaris armor and equipped with fire-throwing Firestorm gauntlets, the Primaris Aggressors arrive on the battlefield. In this issue, you'll learn all about the ancient and powerful Necron nobility. Before building, painting, and playing a new playthrough with your hulking Primaris Aggressors. Happy hopping. And we have some information on the Primaris Aggressors, as well as the Necron nobility, and then of course the build and paint of the Primaris Aggressors, as well as details on the rest of the Space Marines. And then we have our playthrough fire support. Primaris Aggressors, fire-spewing titans. Clad in bulky Primaris armor, aggressors can soak up all but the heaviest of enemy fire, though this added protection slows them down. Aggressors advance relentlessly, unleashing waves of fire from their Firestorm gauntlets to reduce their foes to smoking piles of ash. Primaris Aggressors war gear. Primaris armor. Aggressors all wear this heavy form of Space Marine power armor. Firestorm gauntlets. These weapons spit searing gouts of flame and crush enemies in melee combat. Fire support. Aggressors are tasked with providing extra firepower and destroying powerful foes. Ancient relics. Relics of the fallen are borne by many Ultramarines. They serve to inspire Space Marines in battle. Bolt Storm gauntlets. Aggressors can also be armed with these weapons, which fire volleys of explosive bolts. Fragstorm grenade launcher. Bolt Storm gauntlets are paired with this heavy weapon, providing extra firepower. Fire support icon. All Ultramarine squads bear icons on the right shoulder pads. These icons signify the battlefield role of each warrior. Fire support squads, such as aggressors, all bear this white chevron icon. Okay, and then we have our character sheets here. We got the squad name, which there's a chart for that as well. You got Squad Aconus, Squad Questus, Squad Demeter, and then you have honorifics. Space Marine squads who have fought in many battles are often given honorific titles or their achievements on the battlefield. And again, we have a random chart here. The Skullbreakers, the Blazing Aegis, and the Searing Death. And then you have your 2 regular aggressors and the sergeant aggressor. And for we got a chart for specialties: line breaker, stalwart defender, methodical killer. And we also have a chart for names. Brother Marcos, Brother Vespar, Brother Kersus. Okay, and down here we have a little tally box for death and fire. It says tally every unit your aggressors have incinerated. And then, of course, the battle record after that. Okay, we have Necron Nobles. Imperious, arrogant, and power-hungry, the Necron nobles seek to restore their dynasties to their former glory. They lead the Necron phalanxes to war, directing vast armies of mindless Necron warriors and synaptic constructs who follow and obey orders without question. The act of biotransference transformed a vast majority of the Necron race into Necron warriors, slow-witted beings with no memory of their former lives. The nobility, however, fared much better than their lesser kin. They have emerged from the Great Sleep with their intellects and personalities largely intact, in addition to retaining consciousness and freedom of will. The Necron nobility possess the finest android bodies, and their skeletal frames are far taller and broader than those of Necron warriors they command. The living metal form possesses a strength to crush ceramite and bone with frightening ease. The vast majority of Necron warriors are skilled warriors on the battlefield and battlefield commanders, capable of reading the flow of a conflict and computing the most efficient course of action to achieve victory in the name of their dynasty. To aid them in this goal, they may call upon vast armories filled with the most advanced weapons, war machines, and destructive tools of war known to Necron science. A Necron overlord activates a resurrection orb, causing destroyed Necron warriors to rise once more. Nobles at war. Pharaons. Pharaons are the rulers of the Necron dynasties. Though they often rely on the royal court to command the bulk of their legions, they are legendary generals and deadly warriors. When a Pharaon takes to the battlefield, underlings redouble their efforts, and foes tremble before their magnificence. Overlords and Lords. Overlords and Lords are powerful Necron nobles who fight at the head of the Necron army, commanding their robotic kin. Each and every one of these Necron nobles is a deadly warrior and strategic genius, capable of studying a conflict and calculating every possible outcome in mere seconds. Royal Wardens. Royal Wardens are unquestionably loyal to their superiors. They lack the strategic genius of an overlord or lord, but have enough free will and intelligence to lead the Necron phalanxes, or an entire army should their superior be otherwise engaged. Catacomb Command Barges. This flying vehicle features a vast bank of Vox units, hyperspace transmitters, and scanning devices that allow Necron Noble to view the battlefield from above and send crucial commands to its troops. Piloting such a vessel, however, is beneath a member of Necron nobility. 2 slave Necron crew are hardwired to the vessel to serve as its pilot and gunner. And how to build Primaris Aggressor. Okay, so all the same information we've had. Clipping the components, lining them up. The sprue contains a lot of components, many of which look similar. When following the build guide, pay careful attention to the component numbers and only clip out the components needed for the model you are building. Okay, looks like we're starting with the sergeant here. It says when pushing these components together, apply firm general pressure to the areas directly behind the pegs and sockets. Do not push against any thin or fragile areas, as you may break the plastic. Okay, so I'm going to get started with the sergeant here. So we're looking for 11, 12, and 13. Okay, there's 11. There's 12. And where is 13? There's 10, 11, 12. That goes to 14, 15, 16. Okay, 13 is a back piece. Ah, here it is. Clean up those mold lines a little. Without taking off too much of the model. You know, I think I say it like every video, but I really love this tool. It makes cleaning these up so much easier. Unlike using a hobby knife, you gotta worry about cutting yourself. That's always a bonus. Okay, so just kind of sandwich the head in there. Oh, that's going to be fun to paint. Because being a sergeant, his helmet's red. So you're going to have to get in there. It's the only thing I hate about that Terminator style armor, where the helmet's really recessed in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead finish this guy up, and then get the rest of them built and move on from there. Okay, now it is on to the painting section for the Primaris Aggressors. And I've already primed them and they're ready to go. We have one here. One here. And the sergeant. Okay, so we're going to start here with a base coat of MacLeod blue. But first, especially on the sergeant, actually this one's the sergeant, I did have to use a little glue on them. Where these cords connect to the flame units, they weren't staying. These cables coming in kind of stayed, but were very loose. So I glued those in, and I glued, if you see right here where it connects, I had to glue that in as well. Initially I used the Citadel glue. That did not hold very well. It held the cables, the thicker ones, fine, but the smaller one, it just kept coming off. So I did have to switch to some super glue for that. Also, where the cannon connects to the arm, this piece right here, I had to glue those as well, because that's a very loose connection. And that's where the top cables connect to, so it kept coming apart on me. So on all three of them, I glued their weapon to their arm and the cables in the back. Although the cables do attach differently on the regular units, you can see here it just connects into their backpack there and there. Those weren't too bad, but I still glued them. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with a base coat on these guys. And pretty much I'm just using the Citadel brush that came with it. I'm just using that for base coating now. It just, I can't keep a point on it. So I'll be doing the base coat with the Citadel brush. Then I'll be using one of my detail brushes for, the finer details with the lead belcher and the Abaddon black. So got some blue on my palette there. Add some water to that. And so it is entirely possible I'm just being too rough with the brushes, but so I don't want to throw too much criticism at the Citadel products here. Although I've heard that the starter brushes aren't really that great to begin with, so. And like I said, this guy here, he's going to end up getting his helmet painted red. So that should prove a little challenging. But right now we're just doing the whole thing blue. And yeah, I don't know about these whole stamp to fit models. I think I'd feel much better if everything was glued. So I might start doing that in the future, because like you can see, just as the pressure from the brush is making it shift. So I still have to go back over the captain, and I have glued him and glued him down to the base. So I'm going to have to try and remove him from that base so I could get his the back of his legs and the inside of the cloak. And I'll probably leave it like that until it's finished, because especially the inside of the cloak, you got to come back over it with white. So I'm be running into the same problem. Okay, we're gonna speed this up and get this guy finished, and then I'll be back. Okay, the base coat is finished. Okay, all solid MacLeod blue. Okay, so now we're moving on to Leadbelcher. It says now you use Leadbelcher to pick out the metallic details on your aggressors. Again, shake the pot gently before opening it. Make sure to wash the brush thoroughly before changing colors. Okay, it says paint the whole of the flamers, leaving the fists blue. You'll also need to paint the armored cables, petroleum tanks, and backpack vents. Find and paint all the metallic details hanging from the aggressor. Try to avoid the blue paint beneath it. Also paint the metallic cables on the terrain pieces, or the metallic details on the terrain pieces. Okay, collect a small amount of Leadbelcher on your brush, making sure the bristles form a fine tip, and then paint these details on the aggressor's helmets. Okay, and down here, see it says Leadbelcher areas, finish gallery. When you have finished applying Leadbelcher, use the image below as a guide to make sure you've painted everything. If you notice any details you missed, go back and paint them now. So, basically, all the cables, the tanks, the vents, the flame units, and that's about it. So, set that aside. And I am going to get a 3-0 and a 2-0 detail brush. Get these because we have some finer areas. Okay, where is my 3-0? Okay, there's the 3-0 brush and the 4-0 brush. Okay, get the Leadbelcher here. No, that's the black. Okay, there we go. Okay, I guess we'll start with the sergeant here. Get some paint on the palette. Okay. So start here. Painting this whole area. The parts from the gauntlets go over it, obviously, are going to stay blue. So I don't have to worry about those. You just want to try to be steady and not get any on the part that's already blue. or else you'll have to go back over it again. And I want to get down into these holes here, but at the same time, don't want too much paint in there to clog up the holes. Yeah, I think this would definitely have been easier to do in kind of sub-assemblies. Got to do a lot of rotating to get in areas. Okay. There. There's a lot of awkward angles. Okay, and the same thing with the back of it. Just avoid getting it on the gauntlet. And when you're doing stuff like this, it helps to brace your fingers there. So keep you a little more steady. Okay, I'll finish this up and come back when it's done. Okay, the lead belcher details are completed. A couple of them I did, get over into the blue, so I had to go back and touch that up. But we're ready for our next color now, which is a bed in black. And on the aggressors, this is now you'll pick out the armor joints, cables, and some other areas with a bed in black. Change the water in the pot before you begin, as metallic paints like lead belcher leave behind metal flakes that contaminate other paints. Okay, we got paint all the joints between the aggressor's armor's plates. You may need to turn the model upside down to reach these areas with your brush. Paint the casings at the rear of the flamer. Be careful around the silver details Use the gallery of finished models below as a guide if necessary. And paint the cables that run between the backpacks and the flamers. Use the tip of your brush. This will help you paint around the silver detail. Okay, so it looks like we got the armor joints. Basically these ribbed areas between the plates. The back casing of the flamer. The cable. And that's about all I see. Yep, that looks like about it. Okay. Got the Abaddon Black here. Okay. And at this point, I'm going to switch to that 4-0 brush. Nope, that's a 2-0. I don't need to use a brush this small, but I prefer to, especially when I'm doing things like in between armor joints and things like that. So that's why I go with such a fine brush. That and my hands aren't as steady as they used to be. So having a much smaller brush helps. Alright, let's see here. So we're just going to start with that flamer casing. Yeah, I can already see that's going to need to be touched up. Cheat a little bit and use the primer can to steady my hand. It works, so. Yeah, where the black and blue are meeting, I'm still got silver in between there, so I'm going to have to touch that up. And these models are definitely awkward to paint with all these cables running all over the place. But still a very cool model. Oh, I got a stray hair on this brush. Okay, well, I am going to finish up those details, and we'll get back with the rest. Okay, the bed black is finished on the aggressors. Not the greatest job, but my hope is that once put a coat of gnome oil over it, it'll be fine. The black was a little thin going over the lead belcher, so let's have to see how that plays out. Okay, now we have the rest of the Marines. It says having your aggressors set your aggressors aside. Now it's time to apply a band in black to the rest of your Space Marines. Follow the instructions carefully and use the image as a guide. Okay, paint the raised casings of weapons and the ribbed seams between the joints of the power armor. Paint the back of the lieutenant's shield. Be careful to avoid silver details. Try to use the tip of the brush to paint around those areas. Space Marines have armor joints under the helmets and heads. You may need to tilt the model backwards to get your brush into these areas. Don't miss the joints. Remember to find and paint all the seams and joints of the armor. Okay, looks like we have two, like one at the shoulder, elbow, back of the knees, and where the legs meet the body. Okay. Alright, let's start with the lieutenant here. Go for the back of the shield first. I need some more paint on here. Just paint around it first. You see what I'm saying here? How it's really thin. It's almost like trying to paint with a wash. Which is what I'm saying. When you wash on top of this, it might not look too bad, because the wash is going to darken it up anyways. So I'll do the coats of this and we'll see how that looks. I ain't going to stress about it too much. So just, like I So being careful not to hit any of those details. Alright, I'm going to finish the rest of these Marines up, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so the Bad and Black has been applied to the models. Some spots still look a little thin, even after multiple coats, but at some point during the week I'll go back and do a little touch up to get them going. Okay, so that is the painting. Get these guys off to the side here. Don't need that. Okay, and this week's playthrough is fire support. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to read through the rules, and then I will set up the board and do the playthrough. It says reinforcements in the form of a trio of aggressors have forced their way into the Necron facility to relieve their beguiled brothers. Mission briefing. Having torn their way into the Necron facility with their firestorm gauntlets, the Primaris Aggressors press forward to the last known position of the Necron Royal Warden. It is their task to disrupt the Necron defenses by destroying this android commander and depriving his Necron warriors of leadership. Royal Warden, shepherding the insane. With the Primaris Aggressors burning a path towards it, the Royal Warden has been forced to engage the assistance of some insane Skorpek destroyers. The Royal Warden must survive the assault if it is to lead its troops to victory. Primaris Aggressors, brute force. Armed with fire-spitting, bone-crushing firestorm gauntlets, Primaris Aggressors are perfectly suited for close-quarters fighting. This trio of deadly warriors must force their way through the Necron defenders and eliminate the enemy commander. Setup. Unfold a large battle mat and lay it on a flat surface such as a kitchen table. Place your dice, range ruler, and wound markers next to the battle mat when you need them. Set up your miniatures on the battle mat as shown to the right. Choose who will be the Necron player and who will be the Space Marine player. Okay, rules. This page lists the rules for the models used in the playthrough. Read through this information before you continue, and refer back to it when you need to find the values during the playthrough. Okay, we have stats for the Aggressors, Warden, and Skorpek destroyers. Datasheet profiles. Datasheets contain information required to use your models in this playthrough. Range. This is the maximum distance in which a weapon can shoot an enemy. Note, models may not make shooting attacks whilst in engagement range of 1 inch of an enemy model. Ranged weapons cannot target an enemy that is within the range of 1 inch of a friendly model. Tip. There are several types of weapon, and each has unique rules for how that type of weapon makes attacks. The number of attacks that a model makes with a ranged weapon is equal to the number written after its type. For example, a model shooting Rapid Fire 2 can make 2 attacks with that weapon. Melee. This weapon can only be used when within engagement range of 1 inch of an enemy model. Assault. This model can advance and still shoot in the same turn. Rapid fire. Double the number of attacks the target if the target is within half the weapon's range. Abilities. These are special rules that the model has. Living metal. The model regains one lost wound at the start of each of its turns. So they regenerate. Okay, so the Royal Warden has Rapid Fire 2. So if the enemy is within 15 inches, it gets 4 attacks instead of 2. Okay, and the Firestorm Gauntlets are an assault weapon, so he can move and shoot them, or advance and shoot them. Okay, how to find random attacks. Some weapons, such as flame gauntlets, make a random number of attacks. Refer to the weapon type to find the number of attacks. It's usually shown as a number of 6-sided dice. D6, for example, 2d6, which is the Firestorm Gauntlets are 2d6. Each weapon the model makes a shooting attack. Each time the model makes a shooting attack with this weapon, roll the dice indicated. This is the number of shooting attacks that weapon makes this shooting phase. Okay, living metal at the start of the Necron turn. Models with this roll regain 1 lost wound. And that is both the Royal Warden and the Warriors, or the Scorpic Destroyers. Okay, well, that is the rules. So I'm going to set up, and we'll get this playthrough started. Okay. So we are set up for the playthrough here. Okay, we have turn 1. Space Marines. Necrons emerge from the shadows, the green glow of their android eyes piercing the darkness. The aggressors advance to the Xenos enemy. Okay. First, step 1, move. The Primaris Aggressors advance towards the Necron foes. One at a time, do one of the following with each model that you want to move. Keep the model outside the enemy engagement range of 1 inch. Okay, so they are going to advance. And their move is 5. Actually, yeah, they're going to advance. So their advance is 5 plus the die. Okay, so 1. Not a very far advance. So he moves 6. Yeah, next aggressor has a 2, so he's going to move 7. Last one has a 4, so he's going to move 9. Now, 9, he is still not in charge distance. So at this point, there's nothing they can do. Okay, so that'll end the Space Marine's turn. Next we have Necrons, turn 1. The Royal Warden and his Scorpec Destroyer allies have moved out of the shadows. The Royal Warden fires his Gauss weapon as the destroyers rush towards their foes. First step move, the Necrons move towards the intruders, destroyers leading the advance. Okay, and destroyers have a move of 8. So they are all going to move 8 inches. Okay, and the Royal Warden just wants to get into range to get a rapid fire. So he has to be within 15 inches. 12. Actually, I'm pretty sure he is within the 15, but just to be safe, move him up just a little bit. Okay, he is now in rapid fire range. Okay, the Royal Warden levels its ancient relic Gauss blaster and fires a blast of deadly Gauss energy at the Primaris Aggressors. Measure the distance between the Royal Warden and the aggressor that you want to target. Compare it to the relic Gauss blaster's range characteristic on the datasheet. If the target is within range, roll 2 dice. If the target is within half of the weapon's range, the relic Gauss blaster may rapid fire. Roll 4 dice instead. And that is exactly what he's going to do. Firing right at this guy here. Okay, not a great roll. Let's see. His BS is 3 or better. Okay, so he got 3 hits. Now the aggressor needs to save against those 3 hits. His save is 3 plus, but the Gauss Blaster has an armor piercing of 2, so that would bring his save up to 5. Oh, made 2 saves and took 1 wound. Okay, and Scorpex aren't in range to do anything, so their turn is done. Okay, oh, no, I take that back. They get to charge now. If they are not in engagement range already, the Scorpec destroyers can charge towards the Space Marines. One at a time, check to see if an enemy is within 12 inches. If it is, that Scorpec destroyer can charge. To charge, roll 2 dice. This is the charge distance. Alright, so we're going to charge, charge, and charge. Oh, what am I doing? I only get to roll 2. Okay. 6, where is the... There it is. So, yeah, that's in range. might not be good. Okay, Scorpic Destroyer. His attack hits on a 3 with an armor penetration of a 3. And it's also 3 attacks. Okay, hit twice. So basically, he needs to make a 6 to save that. Ooh, saved 1. Okay. The Marines are rolling pretty decent. He gets a wound. Okay, next guy. Ooh. That's going to be a close one. 3 inches. Nope, he is not in engagement range. Oh, yeah, I don't even have to measure that. Okay, 3 hits. One save. So he is wounded as well. Okay, things aren't looking so good for the Space Marines right now, but it is their turn. Space Marine turn 2. The aggressors attempt to battle their way through the destroyers and unleash a torrent of liquid fire upon the Royal Warden. The aggressors move slowly into position, seeking to unleash a storm of liquid fire on the Necron foes. Okay, 1 move. The aggressor may now move close enough to strike or burn their Necron opponents. Alright, let's see here. Okay, now he's outside of engagement range, so he can advance to the Royal Warden. He has to get within 12 inches of him. So let's see. 3. And the move was 5, so 8. Alright. Okay. Let's see how that Royal Warden likes some fire. Okay. It's a 2d6. Okay, that is 8. So he gets 8 attacks with his Firestorm gauntlets. I think Royal Warden might be dead. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits, and I still got 2 rolls. Okay, so 5 hits. Alright, there's no penetration on that fire. So let's see if the Royal Warden can save. Well, damn. That's not good. It saved all but 1. Okay. Now we got these two in engagement, so their choices are either to fall back or melee. So they're gonna melee. And their melee has an armor penetration of 3. And 3 attacks, 3 or better. Okay, 2 hits. And the Scorpex. Okay, their save is 3. So with the penetration, that'll bring it up to 5. One wound. I have a feeling this is going to be a long game. Okay, down here. Okay, we got 2 hits. 1 save. Now, although this really doesn't make much of a difference because the next turn it will be healed. Okay, now... Oh, wait a minute. He advanced, used his flamer. He's still got a charge. Okay, again, that's no point even measuring that. He's got 3 hits. Royal Warden has to save with 3. This brings it, the penetration brings it up to a 5. Ooh. Royal Warden took 3 hits. And you know what? Instead of putting how many hits they have, I'm going to put how many hits they have left. Oh wait, he already had a wound. So Royal Warden's dead. Okay. So now we have the Necron turn. Okay, even though at this point it is over as the aggressors have killed the Royal Warden before turn 4. I believe, let me see the win conditions here. Keep playing the game back to Necron turn 1 and following the instructions. The Space Marine player wins if the Royal Warden is destroyed by the end of the 4th turn. The Necron player wins if the Royal Warden survives till the end of the 4th turn. Okay, so that was 3rd turn? Okay, but the Royal Warden is dead. The game is over at this point, but we're going to keep going on here. Okay, it's the Necron's turn. They all heal. Alright. We'll start down here. Okay, he's got 2 hits. Two non-saves. And they only have 3 wounds, so he is dead. Okay, this one is going to move. It's got a range of 8. Pretty sure that's enough. Yeah. Actually, yeah, still in range. He's going to get revenge for the Royal Warden. Or try to. 1 hit. Ooh, 1 wound. Okay, so that guy's hurting. 1 more hit and he's dead. Now, this guy up here. Ooh, 3 hits. One save. He is dead. Can one Primaris Aggressor, barely holding on, take out 3 Scorpack Destroyers? I doubt it, but you never know. Okay, he's already engagement range, so he's got no choice. He's got 2 hits. And again, that brings their save up to 6. And he didn't, so he had no wounds, so he's going to get 2. If I can find a 2. There we go. Okay. Now it's Scorpac's or Necron's turn. He's going to try and finish off the aggressor. Wow. Epic failure. Alright. Now. Oh, he has one. Ooh, they're both within 12. Okay, so they can both charge here. So we'll go for this one first. Oh, that's 8. That's not going to be enough. Well, let's see here. Actually. Oh yeah, it is enough. Okay, he's got 2 hits. And the Primaris Aggressor is dead. But they have already completed their mission. The Royal Warden is dead as well. So, technically, the Space Marines won that engagement. Okay, well, that was this week's issue. Issue number 6. And I'll be back next week with issue number 7. We'll see you then.